Every time he looked in the mirror, it wasn't his reflection he saw, but a mosaic of his own untruths. This is the story of Alex, a man for whom every lie he told became a scar. Not the kind you see on the skin, but deeper ones, the kind that etch themselves onto your very soul. It all started small, as these things often do. A little white lie to get out of a commitment. Sorry, I can't make it. I'm not feeling well. A harmless fib, right? But the next day, a strange, faint line appeared on his arm, almost invisible, like a thread under the skin. He brushed it off, thinking it was just a scratch he didn't remember getting. Then came bigger lies. At work, he took credit for a colleague's idea to impress his boss. Yes, I was up all night working on that proposal. The lie felt powerful in the moment, earning him a promotion. But that evening, a darker, more defined scar appeared on his chest, right over his heart. It was jagged and angry, and when he touched it, he felt a coldness spread through him. This time, he couldn't ignore it. Panic began to bubble up. Was this real? Was he losing his mind? He tried to stop. He really did. For a whole week, he was a model of honesty, told his friends he was just tired when they asked why he seemed distant. He admitted to his boss he was struggling with a new project. And for that week, no new scars appeared. The existing ones even seemed to fade a little, the colors dulling from an angry red to a pale pink. He felt a flicker of hope. Maybe he could reverse this. Maybe he could heal. But old habits are like stubborn vines. They wrap around you and are hard to break free from. Depression mounted. A relationship started to get serious, and his partner, Sarah, asked about his past. Fear took over. He wasn't ready to share his vulnerabilities, his failures. So he invented a new history for himself. A story of effortless success, of a perfect family, of a life without mistakes. He spun a beautiful, elaborate web of deception, and Sarah was captivated. Vet night was the worst. He woke up in a cold sweat, feeling an intense burning all over his body. When he looked, he was horrified. His arms, his legs, his torso, they were covered in a network of overlapping scars. Some were thick and raised, others were thin and spidery. Each one was a testament to a lie he had told Sarah, the lie about his first job, the one about his difficult relationship with his father, the fib about his financial situation. They were all there. A permanent, painful map of his dishonesty. He felt trapped. The scars were a constant, physical reminder of his failings. He started wearing long sleeves, even in the heat of summer. He avoided swimming, the beach, any situation where his skin might be exposed. The lies he told to create a perfect image had now forced him to hide his true self. Literally. The irony was crushing. He had lied to be loved, but now he felt completely unlovable, a monster covered in the marks of his own deceit. Sarah noticed the change in him. He became withdrawn, anxious, constantly looking over his shoulder as if expecting to be found out. "Alex, what's wrong?" she would ask, her eyes full of concern. "You can tell me anything." And oh, how he wanted to. He wanted to scream the truth. He wanted to show her the scars and confess that every beautiful story he had told her was a lie. But the fear was paralyzing. If she knew the real him, the flawed, scarred man beneath the facade, she would surely leave. So, he lied again. "It's just stress from work. Honey, everything's fine." And as the words left his mouth, he felt a fresh sting on his neck. A new scar was forming. This was his breaking point. Living in this prison of his own making was no longer an option. The weight of the scars, both visible and invisible, was too much to bear. That evening, he sat Sarah down, his heart pounding like a drum. His hands trembled as he rolled up his sleeves. Sarah gasped. She stared at the intricate, painful-looking marks covering his arms. Her expression shifted from shock to confusion, and then to a deep, heartbreaking sadness. Before she could say a word, Alex began to speak. The truth came out in a torrent, a flood of confessions that had been dammed up for far too long. He told her everything. About the small lies, the big lies, and the horrifying consequence of each one. He didn't invent excuses or ask for pity. He just laid his broken, scarred self bare. When he finished, silence filled the room. He couldn't bring himself to look at her, bracing for the inevitable rejection. He had shown her the monster, and now it was time for her to run. But she didn't run. Instead, he felt her gentle hand cover his. He looked up, and through his tear-filled eyes, he saw not disgust or anger, but an ocean of compassion. "Alex," she said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "They aren't scars. They're just stories that haven't been told yet. And I'm here to listen." In that moment, something incredible happened. Alex felt a warmth spread through his chest, a warmth he hadn't felt in years. He looked down at his arms, at the scar over his heart, and for the first time, he saw one of them begin to fade, not into a pale pink, but disappearing completely, leaving behind smooth, clear skin. It was the scar from the very first lie he had confessed to her. The journey to healing wasn't instantaneous. It took time, courage, and a lot of difficult conversations. With Sarah's support, Alex began the slow process of untangling his web of lies. He reached out to the colleague he had wronged, admitting his deception and offering a sincere apology. It was one of the hardest things he ever had to do, but as he spoke the truth, another major scar on his chest vanished. Started therapy, learning to understand the fear and insecurity that drove him to lie in the first place. He learned that vulnerability isn't a weakness, but a strength. That true connection isn't built on a foundation of perfection, but on the shared ground of our imperfections. With every truth he spoke, another scar faded away. It was a slow, painful, but beautiful process of reclamation. He was reclaiming his story, his integrity, his very self. The man in the mirror was no longer a collection of scars, but a person learning to live authentically. His story is a powerful reminder that while lies can wound us, leaving deep and painful marks on our lives, the truth holds an incredible power to heal. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Because a life lived in truth, even with its bumps and bruises, is infinitely more beautiful than a perfect life built on lies. Team, thank you so much for watching and spending this time with me. If this story resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd like, subscribe, and maybe share it with someone who might need to hear it. Your support means the world and helps us continue to share stories that matter. Until next time, take care.